So guys, welcome back to another edition of Neon Trash. You know who we be, Tommy the Hammer, Adam McDoogleez.
How's it going?
Yes, it is another Saturday night, per the usual. What else are we ever fucking doing on my channel?
What else is there to do?
Right, hang out, drink beers, watch weird movies, and tonight is no different. We are going to be checking out the film Eyes of Laura Mars. Now, when it comes down to this movie, I remember seeing it a long time ago on cable access, but I remember it was really creepy, real moody, and you guys know I like that. From what I can remember, it was kind of like the American Giallo, if you will.
You see movies back in the day, you know, when you're younger, and you know, for some reason they stick in your mind. And then years later, when it comes about, it triggers something, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, I remember this film.
You guys know this part of the channel. Review the trailer, peep that shit. We'll be right back, motherfuckers.
All right.
In a world of breathtaking models and the beautiful people, Academy Award winner Faye Dunaway is photographer Laura Mars. Her work, the subject of controversy. Tommy Lee Jones is Detective John Neville, intrigued by her photographs for his own reasons.
These are police photographs. They are strictly our own material. They were never published anywhere at all. So my question is very simple.
Why are my photographs so much like yours?
That's right.
Somewhere between the sensations of high fashion and the precise form of her art lies another dimension, unexplored, unexpected. Unwillingly, Laura Mars becomes a witness to a series of murders, watching through the eyes of a killer. Eyes of Laura Mars.
When it happens, I can't see what's in front of me. What I see is that. Think of that camera as the eyes of the killer.
Drawn by a mystery,
Do you understand?
their lives converge. Her world, sensual, dazzling, provocative. His world, demanding, dangerous, violent.
This is incredible. In the midst of all of this, I can't stop thinking of you.
I know.
What is going on?
I don't know. I mean, it's completely unprofessional of me to be walking with you in the woods, I'll tell you that.
I don't have time for this.
I'm supposed to be catching a killer.
Well, I'm completely out of control. I can't stand it. I saw him in the elevator, so I'm killed. Get out of here. In the elevator.
Pursued by visions. She is linked to a killer. At any place, at any time, a witness. At any moment, a victim of her own eyes. Eyes of Laura Mars.
We just got done watching the movie The Eyes of Laura Mars, and I have got to say, I feel like this movie is kind of a hidden gem of its era. This is a late 70s whodunit thriller, and it's done in the vein of the Italian Giallo.
Yeah, it's an American Giallo.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way.
back in the day, there was a lot of these murder mystery Giallo films, overseas, but here in the States, we were, predominantly a slasher genre. The slasher itself was kind of born from the Giallo.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how these two genres, shake hands.
The Giallo was an interesting, fusion of your classic, murder mystery whodunit with sort of more artsy themes. There was a lot more violence thrown into it. A lot more psychological underpinnings. And I feel like this movie kind of was influenced by many of the movies, especially directed by Dario Argento that came out from Europe and Italy, specifically in the 70s.
This one particularly, though, kind of struck a chord with me in its overall sense of style. Let's talk about its setting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's in New York in the late 70s, and has a lot of the disco, vibe element, just stylistically speaking of that era.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about this movie was that where it went with the main character, she's a famous fashion photographer, and her fashion shoots are very controversial because they're very violent in nature, which kind of goes into the whole thing about the debate about artistic expression and how much should something push the envelope.
As it is, The Eyes of Laura Mars, as a relatively bloodless affair, I found it to be terrifying in parts.
Yeah, it's suspenseful,
Yeah, very suspenseful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tommy Lee Jones.
I will say, I since it's been so long since I have seen this movie, and I didn't originally view it in its entire context.
Right.
There is actually a lot of talent in this movie. In addition to Faye Dunaway and Tommy Lee Jones, Raul Julia is in this. Brad Dourif is in this.
Here we got Tommy Lee Jones just chewing up a scene again with dialogue and his presence, and I look over at Adam and I'm just like, it's fucking Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. This is the guy who won he won an Oscar for a supporting role in The Fugitive.
Oh, right.
For a reason.
Right. One of the most popular movies of the 1990s.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I feel like, this movie speaks waves. Whether or not other people gravitate towards it is all subjective. I know a lot of people that don't like Giallos. Maybe they find the whole subject matter to be contrived or lacking something. Who the fuck knows? For me, though, there was a lot to be gained. Out of 10 stars, I think I could give The Eyes of Laura Mars a solid 7 out of 10.
I'm right there with you. I could give this a 7 out of 10. For in the context of what it is, it does it quite well. And I can easily see, having watched this a second time around, that why I was initially intrigued by this when I saw bits and pieces of it when I was younger. And I could say, I can understand why, because it's an impressive film.
Yeah, it's captivating, it's alluring, it's got style to spare, great actors, great soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Check out The Eyes of Laura Mars. This was an absolute treat for us to revisit on a Saturday night.
Any Hitchcock fans out there? Is this for you too? So.
Absolutely, and we all know that Hitchcock himself was a big fan of, whodunits, thrillers.
Exactly.
He was the maestro of that. So peep this flick if that floats your boat. Thanks for watching our channel, guys. I hope we've been informative about this movie. Until the next time, tune in to Neon Trash.